Dear beloved Muslims, guests, those who are visiting here for the first time, and those who may be for the second time, and those who are viewing us from around the world, we greet you with the greetings of all the prophets. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. Please turn off all cell phones until after Jumah, please. Thank you. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
Assalamu alaikum. We have two cars across the street that's blocking the dumpster, the blue, like a truck, a Dodge white, needs to move right away. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Huwa alladhi khalaqa al-insana min teen wa ukhrijahu min adh-dhulumati ila an-nur. Fa nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruhu. Nu'minu bihi wa natawakkalu alayhi. Na'udhu billah min shururi anfusina wa sayyiati a'malina. May yahdihi Allah fala mudilla lahu wa may yudlil fala hadiya lahu. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu lahul mulk wa lahul hamd wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Amma ba'd. قال الله في القرآن الكريم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتون إلا وأنتم مسلمون. With Allah's name, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer, We want to give all praise. We want to thank Allah for our presence, for my presence and your presence. And we ask Him to guide our minds. We ask Him to guide our tongues so that we please what He created us for. We ask Him for assistance. We ask Him for His aid. We seek Him for forgiveness. And we put our complete trust in Him. Natawakkalu alayhi. And indeed, again, the complete and perfect praise and thanks belongs to Him. It's His. In fact, everything belongs to Allah. Everything belongs to Him. Not part of anything, not part of this creation, this vast creation. The whole creation is His. Is His. The management of the creation is His alone. And we know Allah wants us to know that He doesn't share. He doesn't share the management of the creation, you know. Although He gives man an opportunity to add and facilitate and cultivate, He lets us know that He doesn't share the management of the creation with anyone. There is no second partner. There is no third partner. No one is helping Him to manage this whole creation. And again, as vast as it is, the angels, even the angels, they serve Him just like we do. Just like we do. The angels, they're not His partners. Some think they're His partners, you know, but they're not His partners. They're His servants. They're slaves. They're just like everybody else. And they all serve Him. And Allah says in the Quran that nothing comes to Him but as a servant, but as a slave. So there's no way for any angels. There's no way for any spirit. No way for anything or nothing, you know, to come to Allah but except as a servant, you know. And then the servant, Allah said, the servant, he get what he asks for. The one that comes to him as a servant gets what he asks for. So no godship. He's not divided. No godship with others. And of course Allah has to direct that because some are saying that He's divided. Some will give equal share and other shares to that. And Allah wants us to know, and our job as being the one with the final revelation, to make that clear, to make that straight. That His unity is perfect. His unity is pure. And we have to promote the unity and purity of Allah, you know, and it's preserved. And again, it's pure, and it will always be that way forever. You know, that will never change. It has never changed. It will never change, you know. And He lets us know that He stays protected. Allah Himself, He stays protected as He is, and He will always be Allah. The perfect, the complete, the unitary whole within Himself, and He will be one who needs nothing from the outside. He's indebted to nothing, and He needs nothing from outside of Himself. And again, we say this often because this is a statement that's only true of Allah. It's not true of anything else in the creation that He's created. Everything else that He created, everything else in the creation that He brings into being, it has to, because of His nature, depend on something from the outside. And then Allah, again, we love this. He said that nothing comes into being without His power. Nothing comes to exist without His order. Nothing comes to be without His will, the will of Allah. You know, He says everything. He wants to know everything, whether it be small or great, whether it be evil or good, whether it be beneficial or harmful, whether it be true or false, whether it be known or unknown to us, sinful or virtuous. All of these things, they only occur. So we're not to take Allah out of the equation when we see these things happen. Say all of these things, they only occur by His permission. And He said whatever He wills, it's gonna exist. It comes to be. Whatever He wills comes to be. And what He does not, then it can't exist. It can't be. You won't see it. It won't register. You see? So it can't. You know. So and that tells us that if it can exist, that if it does exist, that it can never escape the presence of Allah. Anything that exists can never escape the presence of that gave it its existence. So we, as people of faith, we to believe that Allah, highly glorified is He's everywhere. And we have to believe that for human beings, for us as human beings called the crown of creation, for our interest in our life, for our interest, for our movement in the world, that Allah is more inside of us than outside. More inside of us. And that tells us that Allah, His presence, this is what we're talking about, His presence is more inside of us right now. Right as we're sitting, wherever we are, He's right inside of us right now more than He is anywhere else. You know, and He speaks about what He breathed into the human being, you know. And He lets us know that if we miss what we're saying now, we miss the inside. If we always look for Allah on the outside, always looking, He said we'll miss Him. This is one of the things that Allah gave us in the Quran. Ibrahim alayhi salam, he says, "Alladhi khalaqatani sayahdini." He said, the one who created me in my very creation, the guidance that I need to connect with my Lord is in that. And then we find him leaving there. This was his response to them. They said, "What you gonna do?" And that's what he said to them. And then now he goes outside. But he starts inside first. And then now he looks into creation and observes the creation and everything and comes to this conclusion. So this is very important for us as human beings. You know, Allah doesn't want us to see himself. We can't see Allah. He's too big. You know, we can't put Allah under a microscope. So we miss it. We're trying to see Allah in a whole. He don't want us to see. He wants us to see ourselves. You know, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he told us. He said, "He who knows himself knows his Lord." He who knows himself knows his Lord. So Allah wants us to look at ourselves. You know, and Muhammad the Prophet, again, the President of peace be upon him, he is to show us too. We miss ourselves sometimes because we just see him as being away from us. But again, he said, "Ana basharun mithlukum." I'm showing you in your excellence. This is you in your excellence. You know, I stayed the course. You may have deviated, but you can come back to the course that the Allah Ta'ala put your life on. So he is us. And we miss that sometimes because we see him outside of us and we miss the beauty of what Allah wants us to see. So we don't have to believe in a God that needs us to worship him. We don't have to believe in that, you know. Allah doesn't need us. He does not need our worship. He does not need our thanks. He don't need us to thank him and thank him and thank him. He doesn't need us to pray. He doesn't need us to bow. We think we're doing something for Allah. We ain't giving Allah nothing, you know. He created us. And we're his creation. And the creation needs its creator, and it needs to obey the creator. Because this is where the guidance comes from. You know, it needs us to praise the creator, the creation. That's what we are, you know, and to be appreciative. Allah speaks about those who are appreciative all throughout the Quran, you know, for those who are ungrateful, you know. But the more we do the things that we should be doing, the better our life comes out. The better it comes out. The clearer we'll begin to see, you see. So it's for us that we have revelation, not for Allah. It's for us that we have prayers, not for Allah Ta'ala. Those things are for us. Allah, again, doesn't need our prayers. He needs nothing from us, you know. And we give Allah nothing when we pray. We're not giving him anything, you know. We're being obedient, but we don't give him anything, you see. But he asks for our obedience, but he doesn't need anything from us, you know. So we can't increase Allah in any amount. There's nothing we can do that can increase Allah, you know. You know, whatever we do, we can't, you know. He's already perfect, as we mentioned earlier, already complete, and he cannot be changed, you know. He's not subjected to change. We are, but he is not, you see. So he didn't create the world for him to feed upon, because he didn't need to feed upon it. He lets us know that, you know, I created you to serve me. And he said, I don't need anything. He said, I don't even need that you feed me. To let you know those things are very essential for every life. It has to feed. He said, I don't need you to feed me. So he said, I didn't create the world to feed upon. And he didn't create the world to give him any strength. It don't make him any stronger. He has all the power. We know we have these mythological creatures where they touch the creation, they get stronger. Allah said he don't need it. He didn't need it to give him any more strength. You know, and there's more creation. Every day there's science is seeing, before a second goes by, new creation. New creation. That ain't making Allah any stronger. He's just showing us. He doesn't need any of that. But that's, again, he lets us know that this is for the human being. You know, he created the world for us. He created the world for the human being. Everything in the heavens and the earth. Everything. Now think about that. Every single human being, Allah wanted to know that he created the heavens and the earth for the human being. What's down here and what's beyond here, including all the insects, everything, all of that was created for us as human beings. All human beings. So that's something big. But we say Allahu Akbar. We're supposed to begin thinking about this picture and how we serve this picture. That's for me. You know, a lot of people, kids, they say, mine. Allah wants you to know what's for you. What he created for you. And it's enough for everybody. It's enough for everybody to get us to stretch, to really stretch. And we have the capability to stretch our minds, to become much bigger than just a small space, as we say often. Again, this Allahu Akbar reminds us of this all the time, you know. Man, the human being, when we look at all the creatures that we have on the planet, the human being is the only creature that finds joy, that finds happiness, that finds pleasure, that finds usefulness in every single thing that Allah has created. And when we look, Allah. That's not, we say often here that in this city we have a lot of museums here. The Smithsonians and others all across the world. That we have these places that have all types of things: insects, sea life, planetariums, all this stuff. All of this is really, it should give us proof. This should give us proof to just think about these things, that it's for us. Because we don't see any other creature, and we study them all. We study them all. We don't see any other creature doing these types of creature studies. These types of creature collections, these type of creature examinations. Only the human being is doing those things. So that's proof for us. It is man that brings all these things into the environment, and then we begin to study them. You see? So Allah says, "Sakhara lakum ma fi samawati wa ma fil ard." All of this that He made subject to us for the human being, And we have all this, so we've been using technology to study more, to go further. We've advanced beyond, and some creatures are still there in the same mode, but we have advanced in things, And although we look at the world as it moves forward, and we speak about how advanced we've become, it's still having a lot of trouble. This world that was given to us has a lot of trouble. So that tells us that we still need, my respected brothers and sisters, something more powerful than man and more helpful than man. More powerful and more helpful than man, and that's Allah. He wants us to come to that conclusion, that we need Allah. Allah needs nothing, but we need Him. So this is a strong message that Allah is giving us. We need Him in our life, and we're going to always need Allah. There's never going to be a time we say, "Well, I don't need Allah." No, we're always going to need Allah. And the more we progress, the more we come into advancements, the more we will need Him. You see, He designed it that way. But we use that sometimes, we get away from Him, and then we begin to lose the life that He gave us. You see? And some of the proof again is to look how hopeless some of our leaders are around the world. Look at the trouble. We talk about the trouble. Look at the kind of stuff that they've caused. And many of them thinking they don't need Allah. And some of them see themselves as God, this man. So Allah wants us to see this picture and see the kind of trouble that results from just that, And we look at the earth and the different things, types of, again, flowers today the same way they were 25 years ago, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, But the leadership, as we look at that becomes even more deficient. You see, it should be having a constant. But we see these deficiencies in it because Allah is trying to show us something that's creeping in, that's causing us to have a degraded life. And He didn't create us; He created us to have an advanced life, to progress with life, And so we just reflect for a moment on all of the great scientists, and we constantly seeing people sending us these YouTubes and everything about different sciences in the world, how they come to these conclusions after they look at the world and look at the different things, and they ask questions. Where does it stop? And where did it start? They really can't come with a conclusion on that. But they're asking, and that's part of the curiosity of the mind, And they don't have the answer. They have never answered that. When it started and where does it end? And then if they can see they got to end, then another question say, well, what's on the other side? And then that continues to go, and continues to go, So Allah wants us to see all of these things, to think and to reflect and to look at this, And we state in our opening often, that Allah created change. That He created rest and time and space. But again, He's free from change. He's free from rest and all the limitations of time and space. So to have time, just to think about it, to have time, you have to have something in motion. Because time is always moving. In fact, they say that, one thing we can benefit from time is that it always keeps His hands busy moving forward. That's one of the things they say about we can get from a clock. It's always moving. It's always in motion, So this is this time, And so you have to have, when you have that, now you're going to have space, because it moves in space. So these things, again, that Allah has created for us, so again, so science said when they look at space, then where does it start and where does it stop? And he constantly asking these questions, And Allah lets us know that He, the Creator, He made us, and He put us on the earth in space. And actually, we're actually in space. Sometimes we forget that we're in space. The earth is sitting in space like everything else. So He put us in space, again, for us to look at the reality of our existence. Everything that you see in existence, Allah is saying that all of that was made to serve you. And so now we have to look at how is it serving. How do we extract? How do we get utility? How do we benefit from all these various things, And so this day of Jumah is really to highlight really the creation of our intellect. It's how we're able to benefit and advance with these things. If we didn't have this intellect, we don't see these kind of advancements. This day of Jumah, this is the day, again, that is really the creation of Adam. And we're reminded of that every single time we come to the Jumah, and we come together on this day, Jumah, to bring together. This is one of the things that Allah is telling us, So Allah says to us, He says, look at this space. He said, look at the space. You're in space. He said, now look at the space. And He said, observe the skies. Observe those things, all the stuff that you see. And He say, it looks as though they're just suspended. And He says, He leaves it like a question. Are they in the pillars that you can see? What's holding it up? What's holding it up? He asked us. He's speaking to us. He's speaking to us, this human being that He created all this for, to let us know what He wants us to do with it, to think about it. And He said, what's holding it up? You see? And one of the things it's saying to us is that not only your life as a human being, not only our life, but the existence of the whole material universe, this whole world that we see outside of us, these heavenly bodies, is existing and is depending upon powers that you can't see. And we have to believe bil ghaib, in the unseen. But we can't. He say, are they in the pillars that you can see? And we can't see any. We scientific minds, again, as it drives to evolve, they look at all these bodies, and look at the sun, and look at the moon, and look at the stars, and they try to determine and come up with what's holding it up, But Allah speaking to the common mind. When you look up, you don't see nothing, but they're just sitting up there, suspended in the sky. And now, so why does Allah speak to man and woman in that way? Why is He appealing to us this way? It's to tell us. He's saying to us that I want to help you. I want to help you. He's speaking to us, He said, for the material objects have caused you to believe in them. The things that you see have caused you to believe in them. And we always spoke about how some just believe in themselves and think they're gods. And we see how some begin to worship those things. And so Allah said, I'm trying to help you. So He says, even that you think is real, and that is supposed to follow some kind of reasoning that you respect, Allah is saying that these things, I'm trying to help you to explain how these big objects are up there. It is the unseen force. And that's the force that we need in our life. And He's saying that if He can do that, support that kind of weight, that there's nothing can come into your life that He can't lift off of your life. And the one of faith, he sees that and looks at that and comes to that conclusion, the one that did this. And we study it and we see how they say it was in chaos. And Allah calls it to come together. And so we're supposed to include the one that can bring peace to the heavens can also bring peace to my life. These are the conclusions that Allah wants us to come to as we look at what's in the creation. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulih Kareem Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. We are commemorating Adam every Jumah. Every Jumah. We're commemorating Adam. We're commemorating the first life. And we are supposed to reflect on that. And again, we know Qibla, that came before. You know, man was put first in the garden. He was in the garden. And this is the picture that Allah gives us, you know. And it wasn't a place that was bad for him. As we look at it, you know, it was a place that was good for him. So again, this is a picture now that Allah has given us, you know. He didn't have sin speaking to him when he was first put into the garden, you know. Didn't have sin around him, didn't have sin anywhere, you know. He had cleanliness, clean, righteousness, obedience. This is the first state, you know. And Allah had planned it that way for everything to speak to him, to feed that to him from all around him, to bring out that in him so he will become more obedient. But later comes the seducer, you know, and he goes through his stages. The Satan, you know, he came to him. And this is the beginning. And of course, this day of Jum'ah, we're supposed to be reminded too of this, you know. That this was the beginning, you know. So now we had generations that have come now into existence, and Allah said, don't let what happened to your parents happen to you, till we'll be reminded of that. So we were supposed to visit this and look at this and find out what happened to them, so that it doesn't happen to us. You see? And this was, again, a regular place for our paradise, for our original father, Adam, and his wife. And brothers, please come forward. You know, so Satan, as we know, he began to suggest to him that he didn't have to follow the behavior that he had naturally, that we just described. And again, we're looking at Adam as away from us, but we want us to also look and see yourself. Because everything that the first experienced, those that come from the first, they're going to experience the same thing. That first life, you know, my granddaughter is here visiting. And she just coming in and walking, and I'm just looking at this, I mean, just such a joy. Such a joy to see her, you know, the smiling, the laughing, the loving, you know, this the nature. You know, no criminal there. That's not a sinner. You know what I mean? None of these things that people do. This is the light that Allah put us on, you know. So He wants us to see that light. So there will be a time as continue to develop, just like Adam had a time that this didn't happen. And then there's going to be this something that's going to start to do what happened to Adam, the whispers. And it's seduce. That's called seduction, which means that really it's a deception. You're going to be deceived. Something's going to be seeking to deceive you. You know, so this is, again, Allah has given us this picture to let us know what was happening to him, so we can see the same thing happening to us right now. You know, so Satan come to him and say, you know, look, you know, you don't have to follow that. You can question that behavior and use your own mind, use your own independent mind outside of what he said. You don't have to consider what he said, you know. And they say, if you just follow this, you know, and look at this here, you know, don't be afraid. You'll have a better future. You know, you'll be wise, you'll be knowing, all these things that he kind of gave to him, you know. And we find many who are thinking like that now, that are not under the guidance of Almighty God, you know. So this evil suggester, who now he's seeking to seduce, to really, that means to bring you out of your best mental form. You know, we were formed in the wombs of our mother, as Allah says, you know. And that's a place, we know, that's a garden, because that's a paradise, and your seeds grow there, and no sin, you know, it's a paradise environment, no wrong. Then they come out of here, and then they eventually become deformed, etc. And then, of course, now with this information from Allah Ta'ala, they can get back into the form. This is really what it's all about, you know. So, but the best social form too, you know, in terms of how he developed our life, the best moral form, you know, man, the human being, you know, he was saying that if you eat from this, you will die. And that would be a sin. So this is again what Satan is saying. No, that's not true. He said it ain't true. If you eat from that, that's not going to happen. No, you're just going to, and just the opposite is going to happen. You're going to have a lot of life, you know. So why is he called a serpent? Why is this seducer called a serpent? And we're looking now. And the serpent, you know, we look at the serpent, and it has no hair, has no legs, has no feet. But the serpent, it moves pretty fast. They got something that can run down a human being, can run a human being down, you know. They don't have no feet, no legs. But how's he moving? How are they getting around? It lets us know on his skin. On his skin. He moves with his skin. And so Allah wanted to see, what is the skin symbolic of? You know, this Satan coming in here, what does it represent in our life? It's speaking about feeling. Being moved by just feeling alone. You see? And so this was Satan is appealing to the Adam to get him to move just on feeling alone. And we're not supposed to move by just feeling alone. You know? That's the start. But we're not supposed to stay there. We're supposed to continue to develop past that. And get to know about the feeling. I'm watching the young one again, everything goes to their mouth. You know, they just taste, feel, you know, and they're learning from that. You know, they're getting knowledge. And then the next piece would be understanding, that's the key for us. Understanding. And this is one of the reasons why Ibrahim alayhi salam, Allah made it a matter of revelation that when he questioned, and Allah say, why? Because you don't believe. Now Allah knew, but that's for us. He wanted us to see that it wasn't a matter of his faith. He said, no, to satisfy my understanding. And that's the key. And that's the key. Understanding is the key, really, to paradise. Because Allah said the soul that has that mutmainah, this is it. That's the one he says, you know, return now to your Lord, pleasing and pleased. So that tells us that that's important for us to get understanding of what we're doing. You know, a lot of us are just feeling, and that's what's happening to most of the world. It certainly has happened to the Muslim world. They've been moved by just ritual and feeling. You know, and we have different sects, and they all have their feeling. You see, and we have it among other faiths. And you can't make a contribution just on feeling. You know, we start out here when we do the dhikr. This is faith. You know, that's why I faith, and this is feeling. But the next one, a little more, is knowledge. Now I have knowledge of what I'm feeling, knowledge of this faith. And then the other one that's taller more than that is understanding. And when you have those three, now you have the proper expression that Allah Ta'ala wants you to have in your life. You know, your life now is really expressing that shahada. And of course, you know, you're conscious. You're conscious of these developments in your life. You know, we often sometimes tell the story about the elephant. And this is what happens. People get different parts of something. They're feeling the elephant in the dark. And each one that feels a certain part comes with a certain conclusion. He feels the body, says the wall. You know, one feels the ear, says a fan. The trunk, he says it's a hose. Tail says it's a snake, etc. You know, all these different things, you know. But if the light just comes on. See, Allah says, he says, وَاتَّبِعُ النُّورَ الَّذِي أُنزِلَ مَعَهُ, and follow the light which was sent down with him. He's trying to get the light to come on for us, so we can move with understanding. We've lost a lot of understanding. And we've been moved by feeling. And we've been moved by, we're hurt. The Muslim world is hurt. A lot of things have happened to cause hurt. You know, just like we find children who have been disturbed because of what they've gone through. As a community, they've been hurt. You know, we have many who come here now that come from those areas, and they can't reconcile. They're hurt, and they see things that don't look like the way the Islam is practiced in their culture. You see? They're hurt from colonization, hurt, crusades, been cut up, been divided, education has gone down, there's been a reversion of some of the bad traditions that affect women and girls, etc. You know, and so they're making interpretations from hurt sources. They're listening. A lot of the scholars, again, they're coming from hurt sources, from pain. A lot of the translations in the Quran right now, no, we didn't put those in there. None of us here in America did that. But there are translations that cause problems because of where they were and what they were saying when they translated it. You see? You know, knowledge of the prophet hadn't left them. Knowledge of the language hadn't left them. You know, we find that they left it. You know, I was sent to one of the Muslim countries to speak on human rights. Now, why would I have to go to a Muslim country to speak on human rights? It don't make no sense. You know, when the best of human rights was given to us in Muhammad the Prophet, the President, peace be upon him, for everyone, women, everybody had rights. Why I have to go speak on them? Then I find out that in this country, the domestic abuse is so troubling, the treatment that the women are having, that the world here, because they sheltered and we can't see what's happening. We know we just celebrated International Women's Day yesterday, and this month is to highlight that. And we know what Islam did to liberate the women. You know, and then the Prophet, President, people put things in there. He gave us some of his sayings. If you educate two women, you know, to get their mind away from their thinking in their past, you know, they didn't used to value women. So he said the value if you just educate two, that you will guarantee paradise. Two, not one. You see? To let us know, see, it becomes back to going backwards again. And we know this was a society, really, that was burying women. Girls, burying baby girls alive. The source that Allah Ta'ala uses to bring about life. To bring life through. Connects that life with and brings life through. You know, paradise is at the feet of the mother. Again, the Prophet said again. To speak more to that value. That's what the same ones who bear the same, they came from a woman. That's to show you how messed up we've gotten. To want to oppress now the woman. You know, we got Egypt really in 2000. And I know some of you are from there. Just recently in history. Now giving women the authority to get out of abusive relationships. When the Prophet, the President, peace be upon him, gave that a long time ago. Just to tell you how messed up things have gotten. We had a direct declaration a few years ago, the Marrakesh Declaration, really speaking mainly to the treatment of minorities in a majority Muslim society because they're being treated so bad. 51 Muslim countries, 51 signed the document to say, yes, you're right, we're going to do better. That tells you something wrong. Something wrong. And we can look at Medina, we got the charter in it because this declaration was based on the Charter of Medina, the Constitution of Medina, to show how the Prophet, what he established for how minorities should be treated. But that tells us what happened. You see? The knowledge hadn't left them, they left it. And it's troubling. But we are all here. And it's beautiful to look out and see this beautiful picture of diversity that come from all these different places in this new human society called America that didn't exist 1,000 years past the writings of those scholars that were much closer. An opportunity, and the Prophet mentioned about the ones after him, they would go to sleep. And there would be others to come after them. And he even said in his last speech that those who are here, tell those who are not here, make sure those who are not here, make sure they get the message. Perhaps they would go better and go further with this than you who are right here with me, but listening to it. We here, as we look at our global ummah, should be trying to find where is the community. Where is that community? And of course he mentioned that there will come a time when the sun will rise from the west. And we see us all here together. The most educated population of Muslims in the world are right here in America. The most educated population, most diverse and educated population of Muslims in the world are right here in America. And they are upon a foundation that was established really had to, in a strange way, a hybrid Islam. Not the whole thing, but they had key elements of it. Freedom, justice, and equality. Freedom, justice, and equality. And of course, anybody that came to America, if you weren't white, you had suffered something. Everybody has suffered some way of some discrimination if you weren't white, coming from some other, and we know that's the fact, you see. But here, Almighty God, and we just coming out of African American History Month, and we seeing now the movie Bilal is out. We're seeing now the Black Panther is out, and they're trying to reconcile. They're trying to reconcile, you know. And we have to connect our life to the life that's in the Quran. We can't just look at it as just something that we say as a ritual. No, it has to be something we enact in our life. So it can begin to move the world. This world right here, don't you know it's waiting for us? Just like during the time of the prophet, peace, praise, peace upon him, that world was waiting for him. And that light came, the light in the midst of darkness came on, and eventually the whole peninsula changed. And then we begin to see the whole world change. There's a lot of darkness in the world, and certainly here in America. We are to turn the light on that came down with him. You know? Again, we say often when we finish the prayer, Salatul Nur, Sadaqa Burhan. You know, prayer is light. The Nur, the same word Allah used about the Quran. Prayer is light. Again, it's so precious. This whole Quran is so precious. It becomes our prayer. But Sadaqa Burhan, giving, is proof that you got the light, that you're dispensing the light. That's the proof. So we need to see the evidence. We need to ourselves absorb the light so we can dispense the light. And then we can be, as the Quran says, light upon light. By progressing upon the best nature that we come here as children. Getting back in tune with that. Again, Muhammad the Prophet, the President, peace upon him, he never left that nature. That's why he stayed on that course. So good, decent human being. The best of human beings. You know, to show us not disturbed by Satan. We have a job to do. Some of us are sitting down on the job. But don't dismiss. When you look around and see your brother, that Allah brought us here together. He calls us here to come together. Most of us wouldn't be here. None of us would be here, really. He called us here. You see? For us to have unity. Because it's bigger. This is bigger. And that unites us is always going to be bigger than the things that divide us. What are some of the things that may divide us? Well, maybe your race. Maybe your ethnicity. You know? Maybe your nationality, where you came from. But that's not bigger than what unites us. You see? Antum khayru ummatat ukhrajat linnas. We're supposed to be the best. And they're saying you are the best. When we understand that we are the best. But the world needs us. It's not going to get better, really, until we come into that understanding and begin to work together and build our life together. Not just come together to pray together, but work together and then build our life together. Again, that's why work is associated with Jumah. Not for us to just about individual, but to work on behalf of the community, the whole community, to build it, to advance it, so people can see the model of what Allah wants for humanity, upon the best ethics of human life. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا وتكوننا من القوم الخاسرين. آمين. Come to Islam.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة قامت الصلاة قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر. Could you hold that please? Right here.
Good in the back. So some brief but important announcements immediately after. And make sure the lines are straight. Tighten your ranks. Be close to your brother, close to your sister. No gaps. No gaps. Khashi'un in your prayer, be humble in your prayer, and pray as though it's your last prayer. For indeed, we know for someone it may be. Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. ألم نشرح لك صدرك ووضعنا عنك وزرك الذي أنقض ظهرك ورفعنا لك ذكرك فإن مع العسر يسرا إن مع العسر يسرا فإذا فرغت فانصب وإلى ربك فارغب. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. أرأيت الذي يكذب بالدين فذلك الذي يدعو اليتيم ولا يحض على طعام المسكين فويل للمصلين الذين هم عن صلاتهم ساهون الذين هم يراءون ويمنعون الماعون. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. Allahu Akbar. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Allahumma anta salam wa minka salam tabarakta ya dhal jalali wal ikram. Al-Fatiha. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين
Takbir! Takbir!
Allahu Akbar.
Takbir!
Allahu Akbar. Assalamu alaikum. I want to keep you up to date. We're gonna probably change the process just a little bit. The permit for the expansion has been submitted. And so as soon as that comes back from the city, that means that everything has been approved and we can start building. So we're trying to put everything in place. So as soon as that comes back, we can begin to build. Now we don't have all the money to finish the project, but we have money to start the project. But we need to make sure that we give above and beyond, make a sacrifice for our life, so that we don't have to stop that project and keep that project moving forward to completion. If the money keeps coming in, we can complete the project, they're saying, in about a year. In about a year. Now, we may have to be displaced to make that happen. If we stay, the longer we stay here, then the longer it'll take them to get the project done. We are working with a lot of our partners in the area right here to provide a space that will be suitable as a masala for us to use on Jumah while this is being renovated. We know everything is going to change. So the city has it, and they've already given us preliminary to combine. They're combining 4 lots on this side and 2 lots on that side. We've already received that back from the city. They submitted that along with trying to get everything approved. So we expect that to come back in a couple of months. But we're speaking now to the general contractors so they can be ready to move. And as soon as that comes back, the groundbreaking is going to be, we're going to have the folks here that can do the groundbreaking and keep going, not just a ceremonial and move away, but a ceremonial and then keep going when the ground is broken. But we need everyone to support it so we can have a dynamic expression of our life. We need more space. We need more space to have more programs here. We have a lot of visitors here. We had visitors all week, almost every day this week. Just yesterday we had 20 religious leaders, military religious leaders from all across the nation that came here. And before that we had high school, we had colleges to come here, all coming here wanting to learn more about Islam and other things. So we need to have more space, the logistics, the restrooms. We know people, the lines are getting way too long. We got to have this development so we can make things easier on us so we can do more work. It's about doing more work so we can create more programs to get some job training here to help work with the city and etc. It's very important. So please sacrifice. We have to sacrifice. And it's a sacred fight with ourselves to give more. Let's dig a little deeper. We can. This was built, believe me, this place that we're in right now that we just enjoy, Allah brought us together in this here, they had much less than what we have. Much less than what we have. But they sacrificed. They sacrificed. And they went with bare minimum. I'm not asking you to do that, but I know we can sacrifice and not have to do that. But it's worth doing that, though. It's worth doing that to expand this, to make this an expression. And we're trying to hold off on it going on historical roads and tourist roads and the tourism until we get that done, because we just can't handle the traffic if we accept it right now. But if we expand, it'll be better. We'll have what we need for people when they come to visit, etc. So please invest, and you know what it means when you contribute to something like this in terms of Sadaqa Jariyah. You understand that the value of what that gives you beyond the grave. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Good to see you, man. Yeah. Assalamu alaikum. How you doing? Yes, sir.
I just moved here last week from
Oh, welcome.
Central Jersey.
Oh, welcome.
No, Imam Talib Shareef.